I know about you and what you're doing, your ohana, the amazing work you do at Hoku Aina. But for our audience that, they're new to you and they don't know all the amazing things that you're doing, I just like to start at the beginning, get to know you. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Where I'm from and where I grad. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for having us, because I'd like to think that maybe there could be a lot of other people from Ho'oku Aina, our organization, sharing and speaking on behalf of us. But so mahalo for having us. And for today. And just, so proud of you, bro. Remember when you came back so fascinated that, you went to Madagascar of all places. So I was blown away by that, local boy, Hawaiian boy going off to Madagascar. That blew me away. And then just your aloha and your brother coming down and you taking time and being a part of what we're doing or what we do. And then your campaign.
Race to 50K.
The race to 50K. That was an amazing out-of-the-box thought, and I'm not surprised that you're doing what you're doing now and that you're successful. So just
mahalo.
Just proud of you and all your doings and mostly your heart. So myself, you asked where I was from. Yeah. So where I'm from, I guess I would be remiss if I didn't point out and take it back as Hawaiians go, generationally. My father was from Switzerland. He's from a small town in small village, and I was fortunate that I got to go there a few times to meet my grandparents. They were born in the 1800s, and they lived in an old farmhouse that was built, I think, in 1890, where the barn was connected to the farm. And they basically, while my grandfather was a mason, my father and the ohana, they basically grew they probably ate 90% of what they ate, they grew themselves, and very simply. And this is in the period of the war too. My father was already born during World War II, but they went through all those hard times. So he was from there. He came here in 1964 to be the first executive chef of what was then the Kahala Hilton Hotel when it opened up in 1964. So I tell people he was kind of like the Roy Yamaguchi of his day.
Oh, okay.
He was kind of the chef
the
guy. The
Swiss Roy Yamaguchi.
Yeah, because it was as my understanding is the hotel industry was really kind of growing and becoming very commercialized back in the 60s. They were looking for Europeans to run their kitchens because they wanted the continental European cuisine to be the what they served the guests. So he came in with a big wave of Europeans. And then my grandparents on my Hawaiian side, my grandmother hails from my roots there are from the South Kona, Ka'u area, and my grandfather's from, as far as I know, from Oahu. He was born and raised in Nanakuli, and then they on the homestead there, and that's where my mom grew up, on the homestead there. And she, my parents met at the Kahala hotel.
Wow.
She was working as a hostess, I think,
wow.
or a server, and they met, and here I am today. So I grew up in the Hawaii Kai area, which was kind of in the 70s. That was like the Kapolei of today, I would say. It was a
before
place
all
where
the development.
Before all development, it was still, it was about a third of all, maybe a quarter, I would say, of all the development that took place. There was still much of areas in the what was then the Kuapa, the fish pond, that were still not dredged and concreted up on the sides and everything. So it was kind of my backyard and playground. What school you went, bro? I went to Kamehameha. I don't know how I got in. I got lucky. One of the I guess my parents won the lottery at kindergarten, and it was one of those 13-year.
Oh, you was a lifer.
Lifer, yeah.
I didn't know that.
So that's all I kind of knew.
Oh, okay.
And so that's a little bit of my background and where I grew up and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. When I moved to Oahu my senior year of high school, 2010, 2011, I stayed in, that Hawaii Kai Mauna Lua area because my grandma had a house there. So we'd come in the summers to visit, and I was training with the Kaiser kids, and that's how I ended up staying that summer to do my senior year over there to play football. but they got a house in, I think, in like the 70s or something like that, like right around the time before it was what it's known now, where it's like, oh, Hawaii kai, it's like, you know, all fancy, but you know, there's some old houses there, like some, you know, generations of ohana that have been there that are still there, where their grandparents went to school over there, then their father and mothers, and then I went to school with the kids, and now their grandkids are gonna go to the same school. So it's pretty cool how, you know, it is, you know, there are some people transplants and stuff, but it does have this pretty rooted community over there where everybody knows each other, and it's been like generations of
continuity.
families.
There's continuity there. Yeah. My sister still lives out there.
Oh, okay.
So, and
nice.
raises her boys. So still connected to that place. I don't get out there too much. Now we live in Maunawili, which is the Mauka section of the Ahupua of Kailua, and pretty much I don't get out too much. So
I appreciate you coming here.
A lot of times when I tell people I'm going to town, that means Kailua town.
Oh, okay,
But no, I do cross the pali here and there.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you in concrete walls.
Maybe not. Yeah,
this is the first time. We trapped you.
A lot of our staff, once in a while, when I go out and or maybe I'd go and play music and I'd throw on an Aloha shirt and some slacks, they would look at me astonished, like, "Whoa, wow, you look good, Uncle," which made me think, well, does that mean I always look bad? And maybe so. Yeah, I do get out. I do get out once in a while.
It's just surprising when to see somebody who's like super casually dressed. Like, for example, I'm wearing slippers all the time. So when people see me with shoes, they're like, are you okay? Like, is something wrong?
What's the occasion?
When I'm forced to. When there's a dress code.
Yeah.
But okay, so what did you end up doing after you graduated from Kamehameha?
So I was, I think like yourself, I was into football and athletics.
Oh, okay.
And so I went off, and kind of my primary reason was to continue playing football. And so I went off to a small school in California called UOP, and they had a pretty good football program, played against UH a few times. And that's where I met Michelle, my wife. And so I went there, and then things didn't work out for me football-wise. And she had transferred schools, and we were just friends this whole time. We were never like, a thing. And she transferred to UC Santa Barbara. And I was in Stockton, California, which, if you're not familiar with Stockton, California, is not the nicest place when you think of I mean, there's a lot of beauty in California, not in Stockton. And I went and visited her down in Santa Barbara, and I'm like, I'm changing schools. I'm going to go to school over here. So I transferred over there, was able to play football a little bit there. I just but finished school and graduated from UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
After that, I'll just continue on. Growing up, I guess I had only really known my Hawaiian family, and going to Kamehameha schools, I guess I was, kind of rah-rah. Wanting to grow. I grew up, I'm a product of the Hawaiian Renaissance of the 70s. And so that was, I identify as Hawaiian and such, even though my Hawaiian grandfather, referred to me as my haole grandson. It was his term of endearment for me, because I know I was the punahele of the grandkids. But,
the favorite.
So, but it was only in college when I realized, I should really learn about the other side of me. And become more in touch with that, and also as a means to, I think, become more in touch and understand my dad a little more. So I took German as my language requirement in school, and then my plans were, after college, I went and I lived in Europe for 2 years. I lived in Switzerland for a year and in Germany for a year, specifically to learn the German language, so I could communicate with my family up there and be the link once my parents were gone to that side of me. And I like to think I was pretty successful in that. Interestingly enough, it was when I was living in Europe that I became passionate about Olelo Kanaka and the importance of restoring our language. I'm still very much in process of learning. I'm not there. I'm ashamed to say I can speak German, pretty well conversationally. I can actually speak a little Italian, because I lived in the Italian part of Switzerland for a bit, and Hawaiian is kind of the third for me. So, but I'm taking some efforts to continue to grow and become more conversational with Hawaiian. So, but that was kind of a foreign thing. When I went to Kamehameha, actually taking Hawaiian was frowned upon. They dissuaded us. It was like, take Japanese so you can be a part of the tourism industry. Or if you're going to go to the mainland, especially in school in California, make sure you take Spanish. So I took 2 years of Japanese at Kamehameha, 2 years of Spanish. I mean, can fudge a few words and phrases here and there, but so it's good to see that we're on a different path. Anyway, that was a long intro as to
no,
me
keep
and a
going,
little bit of my
keep going.
background. So,
I don't know these stories about you, so I'm super interested.
yeah, so that's just a little bit of me outside of, I think people, maybe you and others like staff of ours or people see me as just having grown up in the lo'i, which is by no means the case.
Yeah, so it's cool because I can see why we get along, and I loved being around the lo'i, or just ho'oku āina and all the workers, because when you're around like-minded people who have similar experiences, you connect with them a little bit more. So, I had no idea you had all this travel, this time abroad, even lived outside of Hawaii going to college, and then, was interested in learning other cultures. And then when you were gone, you got more interested in the Hawaiian language and the culture. That's just like me. It wasn't until I went to Spain studying abroad, leaving Hawaii for the first time, that's when I was like, wow, I am really blessed that I live here. And when people would ask me, wait, you speak Hawaiian? Wait, Hawaiian's a language? And I would tell them, oh, yeah, I guess that's pretty rare, meeting somebody that is from Hawaii that speaks Hawaiian. Yeah. And it wasn't until then it clicked in my mind. I was thinking, wow, I am so blessed that I can do this. Yeah. And even though I was in the Hawaiian immersion program, it still wasn't praised back then. It was the in the 90s, early 2000s. It wasn't until, maybe probably, in my opinion, like the 2010s when it really became cool to, exotic to, speak Hawaiian. Everybody wanted to do it. I think with social media coming out, people wanted to show off their skills and kind of flex that they could speak Hawaiian, say a few words, So, yeah, the different times, but I was so interested in learning all the other languages. I studied Spanish in college. I didn't even take Hawaiian classes. Yeah. Well, I spoke Hawaiian, so I didn't want to do that in college. But I was so interested in learning about all the other cultures. And again, I still knew I was blessed to be from Hawaii, but it wasn't until I went to Madagascar and the whole Mauna Kea movement was happening, and I felt this disconnect of me being so involved in the Malagasy culture, the language, wanting to speak their language and learn their culture. Then I saw everybody on the Mauna, and that was around the time my Peace Corps service was ending. And I came back, and I had this big i'ini to reconnect with Hawaiian culture. And that's when I found Ho'oku āina, which was, that's why I say I appreciate you guys so much. And whatever you guys need, just let me know, because it was, and this isn't like a hyperbolic statement, it was probably the most important thing that helped me when I came back. Just being around that, finding community. Because when I came back, and I don't know if I really talked about this on the podcast, I spent 3 years. My life was on hold for 3 years. I had a whole nother life in Madagascar. Yeah. Everybody, all my old friends, everybody, their life kept going. Yep. Right? They got, started their careers, maybe got in relationships, maybe even started a family. So me, I'm coming back as this new person. I'm not the old Kamaka that I was when I left. I'm still the same, still got the same, personality and stuff, but my worldview is different. My interests are different. So I had a hard time hanging out with my old friends, and they wouldn't invite me to things anymore because, I was like, these are my friends in college that we hung out all the time, but they got other things going on. So that going to, volunteer at Ho'oku āina with my crew over there, it was the best thing for me at the time. Seriously.
Oh, that's a blessing to hear. Yeah, I completely relate, because when I was living in Germany, it's tough living away too, right? You're a little homesick, and even though you're interested because you're learning a lot of new things and experiencing new things, there's those questions like, what in the world am I doing out here? I should be home. Yeah. Because I think, for those of us who are blessed to be here and are rooted and connected here, we always have this calling, to ho'i. To ho'i, to kapiko, I guess you could say, yeah. So, yeah.